Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Jeanette Biro here. I'm a medium and a channeler. And welcome to your Wednesday Wisdom with Spirit, where we dive into the messages, but through mediumship or channeling. So as always, I don't know what the messages will be in detail. Sometimes Spirit will be chatty with me in the morning, and then something from that leads through in what they actually wanted to talk about with all of you today, or any day. But sometimes I have no idea, like zero. And that is what's fun. It's an opportunity for me to just show up and trust what's coming through and share it. So I'm going to tune in, see who's there, see what's going on, and share whatever it is. So just hold on one moment. I'm just going to tune in. Okay. Fair. So again, what's really interesting is the last little while, it seems like when I close my eyes for these messages, I show up at this kind of like council table, this round table with my council, and they're all there sharing the messages. So it's kind of coming from all of them. With this one, they're talking about destination unknown. And sometimes there is such a value in the experience of the destination unknown, meaning the journey of discovery in it. And so they're showing me right now to the Two of Swords card in tarot. I'd be curious if we get that card at all Thursday, Friday. They're showing me the Two of Swords. And for those of you that aren't familiar with it, it's usually a woman sitting kind of by the shoreline with her back to the water, holding two swords that are crossing, and she's blindfolded. And so that usually represents like not being able to choose a direction because you can't see it clearly, you can't figure it out. But I'm just curious, did we just get this yesterday? Was this in yesterday's, or was that something else? The Two of Swords. I think it was in yesterday's. I can't remember. Anyways, so the Two of Swords, the value of it, being in that position of the unknown, has actual value because it's in that experience that we get to then rely on our intuition, rely on our ability to discern, to feel into things, which then builds our confidence and brings us more a sense of like, they're saying quality in comfort in being in who you are. I would say feeling like assured in what you are. So makes sense. They're saying these little miniature, what we call tests. Spirit says it's never about testing for a pass or a fail, but rather giving you an opportunity to step up and learn who you are now. Learn who you are now. In each and every opportunity to step up or test, as many of us use that terminology, it allows us to see where our new benchmark is. So that every time we step up and step up and step up and realize how far we've come, and before we know it, we've actually completely reached an entirely new level by moving up each step of that staircase. So they're saying right now, it's really valuable as you dive into that discernment and dive into that greater intuitive awareness for you to also really, they're saying, revel in the mystery. Because sometimes the most beautiful things are awaiting us in those moments that we feel we're in the void. And if we were to get in the mix of what is awaiting us, we would sometimes change course without realizing. And that there's a value in us not knowing in a certain moment, because it allows us to, they're showing me like, float along the river and let the river of kind of universal destiny guide you. Because here's the imagery they showed me. If you needed to get from point A to point B, and you knew point B was, say, on the right side of the river, well, then you're going to try and stay towards the right side of the river and fight the rapids to stay that way to get to the right side of the river, because that's where you know you need to go. But sometimes with the way the river moves, if you were to follow the flow of the river, it would actually probably pull you to the left, but then you would avoid this massive, turbulent part of the river, and then it would naturally kick you over to the right. So if you went with the flow, your journey would actually be peaceful. But if you went with what you thought was right because of what you knew where, destination B was, A to B, you would maybe end up in that turbulent water. because you're trying to make it happen. So what's really interesting with this is that many of us are in an energy of being on that river, and Spirit is saying, follow the flow of it. Use your discernment, and if all feels calm and peaceful, keep following it, because there is a flow that is working in your favor right now, which makes so much sense with what we've been seeing in the cards. There's a big universal support energy right now for flow. I have to repeat that. Anytime I have to repeat a message is because Spirit wants it really emphasized. And they're saying to release a fear of being lost or missing it. You won't miss it, because if your eyes are open enough to be listening to messages like this, for example, to be working on awakening your consciousness, to be looking deeper into things, to be feeling into your heart space, all of that, if you're willing to do that, you won't miss the guidance of this flow. You won't miss your discernment. So that's a really beautiful thing, because it's almost like, you know how knowledge is power, and sometimes you can't unknow what you know, so therefore you can't actually go backwards. So they're saying to release that fear of missing it and follow the energetic flow. There's another guide coming in. So this is one of my guides who has like the funniest personality ever. And she's like, you know what's so important too? She kind of put her hands on the table and leaned forward, but she's absolutely non-threatening. She said, what is also so incredibly important right now is to have fun and to bring that joy energy back in, because sometimes when we've been used to dealing with traumas and triggers and healing them and working hard and, you know, focusing and discernment and all that, we get really serious about it. And sometimes that can also block the flow too, is when we get too serious. We can have focus, but we can have lighthearted focus, because what that means is you're in balance. And so she's saying, remember to bring the joy back into it and to have those belly laughs. Like, she loves to laugh, and she's laughing so much right now. Remember to have those belly laughs. Remember to be lighthearted, but also kind-hearted, she's saying. And there's value, so much value in that you put out when you're in that energy. That authenticness in that energy is so valuable. And what's interesting is she's like, this is all going in the right direction. This is great. Keep doing what you're doing. And that's for all of you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep furthering your progress, your lightheartedness, your focus, your discernment, the flow. Like, keep honoring that ability to move with ease and grace through the energies. So I will leave that with all of you. Thank you as always so much for joining me. Now, I do want to say also, next Wednesday, so a week from today, next Wednesday, I'm going to be hosting Cosmic Consciousness. Again, it's all about how the emotional body and the physical body really create and harness the intuitive body, and how imperative the intuitive body is as we move through the end of the year and into 2024. It's absolutely key. So if you want to learn more about that, join me at Cosmic Consciousness. That's a great way to support what I do, and provides more ability for me to do this free content for all of you, which I absolutely love doing. And as well, I want to say, if you want to keep up to date on all the course offerings and everything, you can sign up for our newsletter at avalonspirit.com. All right, everyone, have a beautiful day, and I will see you tomorrow.